Last year I was hiking in Shenandoah, Virginia. It was a planned 2-day hiking trip, myself and 2 friends. Late into the first day, one of my friends grew ill and decided to turn back. The second friend joined him, just in case things got worse. They told me to go on, and seeing as I had been looking forward to the trip, I did. As evening approached, I came upon a clearing in the forest. On a table, surrounded by tools and several cans of spray paint, was an elaborate doll's house. It was large, perhaps 3 feet tall. Its walls and windows were open, as if it had just been built and was drying. The lingering smell of spray paint still hung in the air. On the back of the house, a photo had been affixed. It was a family picture, old, perhaps taken in the 80s. Everyone in the picture looked very uncomfortable, like they didn't want to be taking the picture. Or they were forced to. Not scared, just uncomfortable. I left it and continued on so I might reach my planned campsite by nightfall. The wind had picked up considerably. In the distance, I heard a branch give and fall crashing to the forest floor, startling me. I found my campsite, but was a bit unnerved by the dollhouse in the middle of nowhere. I realized I didn't want to camp out in the open where whoever was working on it might stumble upon me. I had one of those little one-person tents that stand just tall enough for one person to lie down in. I set it up behind a thick stand of brush, one side blocked off by a tall stand of rocks. I was glad for this, because not only now was I hidden, but the rocks effectively blocked the heavy winds, which had now turned cold as the frigid air tumbled down the mountains at night. The sound of wind-churned forest was relaxing, and I think I fell asleep right away. Have you ever been awoken by a loud sound and unsure what it was exactly? But some remnant of it echoes in your mind for a moment after waking. That's what happened to me sometime later, in the pitch dark. I had the sensation that someone was near. I listened intently, trying to hear over the wind. I heard a man's voice somewhere in the distance, harsh, rapid, and then became softer. He was too far away for me to discern what he was saying, but close enough that I could hear his inflection and cadence. It sounded like a crazy person scolding himself. Then his voice became softer, answering. As I listened, the voice grew louder and louder, until I could hear his clumsy footfalls crashing towards me. He walked by where I was camped, just several feet away from the brush that concealed me. By now my eyes had adapted somewhat to the pale moonlight, but I still couldn't make out anything more than a large, massive shape. He was probably about 6'6" and heavily built. He was angrily talking about someone's face and how it haunted him. His voice then became childlike, and his conversation with himself turned to the topic of cheese and crackers. This dude was clearly crazy. That or high on something really good. After a moment, he continued on, his voice receding until I could no longer hear him. I slept little that night. At first light, I booked it back the way I came, back to town. I noted that the doll's house was not in the clearing when I passed by. Whoever that stranger in the night was, I'm glad we did not meet.